Hey everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel. Today we'll learn how to create a stunning neon text effect with gradient color using HTML and CSS. So let's get started. Here we have a div element with a class of text effect. Next we have a h1 element with a class of neon. The data text attribute is set to neon. And the content editable attribute, it allows user to edit the text directly in the browser. Next we have an empty div element with a class of gradient. Next we have an empty div element with a class of spotlight. Now let's add CSS. Let's style the body element. Here background is set to black color. Display is set to flex. Mean height is set to 100 VH. Justify content is set to center. Align content and align item is set to center. So they center vertically and horizontally. Now let's select the text effect element. Here overflow is set to hidden. Position is set to relative. And here we apply a filter to adjust contrast and brightness to the content. Now let's select neon element. Here position is set to relative, background is set to black, and the color is set to transparent, so that it makes the actual text color transparent. Now let's add shadow element. Here we set the content of the shadow element to the value of data text attribute. Next we set the color to white. We apply a slight blur effect to the shadow element. Position is set to absolute. Top and left is set to 0. Pointer event is set to none. So they disable pointer events on the shadow element. Now let's add after shadow element. Here mixed blend mode is set to difference. Now let's style the gradient and the spotlight element. Here position is set to absolute. Top is set to 0, left is set to 0, bottom and right is set to 0. Pointer event is set to none, and the Z index is set to 10. Now let's style the gradient element. Here background is set to linear gradient of 45 degree. That goes around from red to blue. Mixed blend mode is set to multiply. So they blend the gradient background within the underlying elements. Now let's style the spotlight element. animation is set to light 5-second linear infinite. Here we set the background of the spotlight element using the radial gradient, creating the spotlight effect. Here the first radial gradient is of white to transparent gradient within a circular shape from the center of the element and covering 25% width and height. And the second radial gradient defines a white to black gradient within a circular shape starting from center of the element and covering 25% of the and it covers the 12.5% of the width and the height. Next we set the top to -100% and the left to -100%. Next we set the mix blend mode to color dodge. So we can apply the color dodge blend mode to the spotlight element. Now let's set keyframe. Here 100% is the final state of the animation. We set the transform to translate 3D, 50% and 50% and 0. Now let's style the neon element. Here font is set to 700 and 220 pixel. With the font of sans serif. Next, we have a text transform that is set to uppercase, text align is set to center, and the margin is set to 0. Now let's style when the neon text receive focus. Here outline is set to none, border is set to 1 pixel dotted white. So that it added dotted white border around the focused element. So that's it for today's video. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more exciting web development tutorials.